things even more exciting, our special guest, Mr. Henry Byman, will talk with us about his inspiring book. Trust me, you won't want to miss what he's got to share. But before we jump into all this excitement, here's a quick message from our sponsor. So hang tight, we'll be right back with more Southern Miss Today. Keep it tuned right here.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277. And the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. In USM Campus News, the Philosophy and Religion online forum series will take place Friday, March 22nd at 12 p.m. Dr. Federico Campana will be the guest speaker. He's a philosopher, writer, and publisher who teaches at the Royal Academy of London. He will present and discuss his book, Prophetic Culture. Dr. Campana's research contains the theory, politics, and history of world building. He'll then discuss his book titled Technic and Magic, The Reconstruction of Reality. It presents a deeply poetic analysis of the ecological, political, and economic rises we currently face. Dr. Amy Sagel, the coordinator of the forum, says Dr. Campana is a brilliant thinker, and she's sure his presentation will be proactive, leaving the audience with much to ponder. For more information on how to join the online forum, visit the website www.usm.calendar. Have you been struggling with the stress of college assignments? Maybe you feel like you're not in the best of health right now. USM Student Association of Social Dance is the perfect way to uplift your spirits. This organization will be holding a tabling outside of the Fresh today from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Come learn how dance can improve your mental and physical health, build community, and spread joy. The tabling offers insight into the organization's non-judgmental and beginner-friendly approach. Dance releases endorphins and other positive hormones into your system, which can reduce stress and anxiety. It can even improve social connections. It's a great way to meet new people and help ease loneliness or improve moods. Follow their Instagram at Social Dance USM and join the GroupMe called Social Association of Social Dance. Don't forget to stop by their tabling for more information. USM is celebrating 2024 Founders Week from March 22nd through the 27th. Founders Week celebrates the 114th anniversary of USM's establishment with events at the institution's Hattiesburg and Gulf Coast locations. Highlights of this week include athletic events on March 23rd that feature USM's football team's spring scrimmage, baseball Sun Belt Conference, and the Lady Eagles softball match. The same day, Hattiesburg annual major festival called Hub Fest will happen. On March 26th, a Southern Miss birthday party will be held at both the Spirit Park campus and Hattiesburg in the Hardy Hall on the Gulf Park campus in Long Beach. For more details about all the week's events, visit www.calendar.usm and click More Info. In Hattiesburg news, a Lumberton woman is facing multiple felony charges for shoplifting incidents in Hattiesburg last year. She turned herself in on Tuesday morning. The shoplifter is 24-year-old Imagine Walker. HPD said Walker was wanted in connection to 5 felony and 1 misdemeanor shoplifting incidents that happened in the 1000 block of Turtle Creek Drive in 2023. Walker has been taken into custody and is currently in the Forest County Jail. As regards to what motivated her to turn herself in is still not known. That's your news update from Southern Miss Today. Next, we'll have the latest in sports and weather. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
The NLS Braille and Talking Book program gives patrons with visual or physical disabilities the freedom to read their way.
If you want to read in electronic Braille, you can. If you want to read on your phone, you can. If you want to read in HeartPrint, you can.
Everybody can read the way they want to read using this program.
For more information about the National Library Service for the Blind and Physically Handicapped Library of Congress, visit loc.gov/thatallmayread.
Welcome back with our action-packed sports segment. Put your jerseys on because it is game time. Softball is expected to play at 6 p.m. tonight against Nichols at Thynbox, Louisiana, in Swadner Field. The women's basketball team will begin its 7th trip to the WNIT with first-round action against University of Alabama, Birmingham, tonight at 6 p.m. The meeting will be the first between Southern Miss and UAB since 2022. The game will air on ESPN Plus and will be available for radio broadcast at the Southern Miss Sports Network. Men's golf finished with a 13th place tie at the Houston All-American. The game was at the Golf Club of Houston in Humble, Texas. Two seniors each fired a final round 73 to help lead to the 13th place tie. Men's basketball senior guard Austin Crowley was named NABC First Team All-District 23. Crowley averaged a career best of 16 points per game and was third in the Sun Belt with 17.2 points per game. Basketball had a 4-game winning streak mixed with a loss against Ole Miss on Tuesday. The final score was 8-3. The Golden Eagles returned to action this weekend when they traveled to Georgia University for the Sun Belt Conference play. The series starts Friday at 5:30 p.m. Track and field cross country will have a meeting against the Bulldog Relays on March 22nd. The time will be announced soon, so visit southernmiss.com to keep up with all of our sports activities. Here at Southern Miss, we are more than proud of every Golden Eagle athlete. As for your weather today, it's currently 60 degrees with a high of 70 and low of 36. It'll warm up to the 70s from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. before cooling down in the night. It's quite cool outside considering that it's spring, so make sure to bring a jacket if you go anywhere. Up next, we have Mississippi Moments produced by the Center of Oral History and Cultural Heritage. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments on MPB, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. The stories of our ancestors are passed from generation to generation as treasured keepsakes. Ethel Patton DeAnjou relates how her great-grandmother, a Native American, came to live in Mound Bayou.
My great-grandmother on my mother's side, she was an Indian. She came from Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. And she said the way she got to Mount Bayou to meet my grandfather was as a child, 4 years old. They were having the Trail of Tears. And she remembers her father on a white horse bringing her to this black lady. He felt, the blacks helped the Indians and the Indians helped the blacks. He felt that she would have a better chance with this black woman and this black family than going on this Trail of Tears to Oklahoma. So he brought her, and all she remembered was her father on a white horse with 2 long braids, sitting on the horse looking at her. And she never saw her parents anymore after that. And this family brought her to Mount Bayou, Mississippi, and that's how she met my great-grandfather.
To hear more, visit MississippiMoments.org or just like us on Facebook. Mississippi Moments is supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. The humanities are for everyone.
That was your Mississippi Moment for today. Coming up, we have the pleasure of hearing from Mr. Henry Beeman. So stick with us while we hear a message from one of our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ed Simpson, Director of the School of Media and Communication at USM. Join me on Southern Miss Radio Friday afternoons at 12:30 for a new show, News You Need. On News You Need, USM students will discuss current events and why those events are important to them. Listen in on how the future citizens of the U.S. consider news and how those news events affect their lives. Join me for News You Need, Fridays at 12:30 on Southern Miss Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. We have a special guest with us today. He is a current USM graduate student who released an empowering book titled Live Inspired, Awakening Your Path to Purpose. Please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to Mr. Henry Byman.
Thanks for having me here today.
Of course. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, and I'm excited to be here and share with your audience.
Yes. Well, can you start by telling us what your book is about?
Sure. So I wrote the book Live Inspired in a time when I was in transition from one career to the other and starting graduate school all at the same time. And I was writing for what would I want to hear, what would I want to see in a book to help take me to that next step. And I was thinking a lot about what's going on in our culture today, and there's a lot of sadness, depression, unfulfillment, and I think a lot of that stems from we're in a place as a culture of being used to abundance, but at the same time we're not fulfilled, we're not happy, and we're seeking that deeper meaning and purpose in life. And I wanted to write something that will help folks find their source of inspiration and seek that purpose in their life, so that when you're running on the rat race of life, you're not just running in some random direction. You're running somewhere that's leading you towards purpose, leading you towards inspiration and fulfillment.
That's awesome. Well, can you give us a little more details of how you help people find their purpose?
Absolutely. So one of the things that's really important for me and my walk of finding purpose is my faith and the faith background. So something that has grounded roots, whatever your faith background may be, that you find the opportunity to learn it, to study it, and to teach it, whatever your faith background may be or otherwise. When you invest in yourself by learning, studying, and teaching, you're then able to grow in a foundational depth that allows you to seek that source of inspiration. Because we've all had those experiences when an idea pops into our head that inspires us, and we want to go chase after that idea, and you can work on a project or can journal notes about that idea for hours and then look up and realize, oh my gosh, an hour's passed, 2 hours have passed, and I didn't even realize it because you're so excited and motivated by that idea. And that's what we try to tap into, is to teach people to find those moments and cultivate that connection to that divine spark that gives you that little extra push of external energy and motivation to get things done that aren't a slog. It's not dragging through and, oh, I have to go do this next thing. It's actually something that I'm excited about. I tell people it's not what keeps you up at night, but it's what wakes you up in the morning. What makes you excited to get out of bed and go tackle your day.
That's a great way to look at everything. How do you define purpose for yourself?
So to me, I think I've had some experiences in my life serving in the military where I've learned that helping others is my direction of purpose in life. I was a wounded warrior ortho trauma nurse in the Army for a little over 10 years, and I worked at Walter Reed on the President's Hospital in the Wounded Warrior Ortho Trauma Ward there, taking care of our nation's heroes. And when you see how much those folks have sacrificed for you and I, and the freedoms that we have are on the back of their sacrifice, but then they walk away, even though they've been injured severely or have had issues and challenges from their service and sacrifice, they become really fulfilled and grateful for our nation. And so that was something that really struck me, that folks who have given up and have sacrificed and have hurt so much have this passion and this motivation to continue to give and to do more. And that really clicked with me, and the ability to help other people is my purpose. And so on my mission statement on my company website or on my social media and things, I say that I inspire organizations and individuals to be the best that they can be. And so that ability to give others that little spark to change their life is what drives me.
That's great. That was greatly said. In your experience, what are some common barriers you would say that prevent people from fulfilling their purpose?
The biggest thing that I've seen, I'll name two. One is we feel like we have to keep up with society going on around us. There's this inundation of information. There's this drive towards having careers and money and all these things that we want, that we deprive ourselves of the opportunity of slowing down, thinking, and just spending some time reflecting on our lives and what our true purpose or calling or what it is that we actually want to do in our lives. We feel like we like something at a moment, and then we get into that job and it's not fulfilling, so we jump to something else. But really we have to sit and spend some time internally with ourselves and analyze, what is it that drives me? What is it that has calling to me? What is it that gives me purpose? Just like I was talking about mine. As we have those experiences, we can then determine, okay, this is what I'm looking for when I go out into the career field, when I go out into the job market. Those are the things. And the second thing that I see is I don't think as we have enough time for creativity. We see all the stuff that's out there and we think, wow, how do you say there's not enough creativity in the world? Because if you look at social media, there's people posting videos and reels and all these things all the time. But we're constantly in a mode of consuming information, data, stuff, and you open your phone and the next thing you know, you're bombarded with notifications and you're chasing the little red circles with numbers in them to clear that out. And so we're constantly consuming, and we don't have as much time to just sit and process and think creatively and think about ideas and think about problems and challenges. We just consume what's around us. And so I think there's two big things that are roadblocks for folks.
Mm-hmm. Would you say social media can be a word block? Like in social media, we're constantly consuming information, and we may want to have the success that an influencer may have, but we're not thinking about the first step first.
Absolutely. So social media can be an amazing platform for fulfilling your life of purpose, but I think it's also really easy to get sucked into the black hole of doom swiping, is what I call it. And you go on there for a purpose to maybe create some content or something that would be fulfilling to your purpose, but you get sucked into the other parts of it. So it has to have some dedication and some discipline to it. There's one part in my book where I talk about discipline, having a morning and evening discipline. And I think it's really important that you spend some time every morning and every evening going through a particular routine. And what that looks like for me is I get up every morning, I work out and exercise while I'm listening to an audiobook. Something to spark my imagination, something to spark my creativity, something that's interesting to me, and just get my mental juices flowing as I'm working out and earning energy. But then after that, I sit down and spend a little bit of time just writing and thinking. Whatever pops into my head, ideas, something that's creative, make a couple of little journal notes. And along with that, I write 3 affirmations about myself, and I write a gratitude list of things that I'm grateful for, because in a world, everything can be going wrong around you, but you can always find something to be grateful for, and it's a matter of where you set your attention and your focus. If you focus on the things that you're grateful for, if you focus on the things that are going wrong, that's where your direction for the day is going to be. Always try to help folks focus on the positive, focus on the things where we can be grateful and have gratitude, and then carry that energy with us throughout our day.
That's great. I think a lot of time people forget to think about how far they've come because we're just desperately wanting to reach our success point, but we're forgetting about everything that we've overcame within it.
Absolutely. And the overnight success is a myth. That doesn't really happen. It's usually the 20-year overnight success. You didn't know about somebody for the 20 years that they were preparing and getting ready for their launch. And then when it launched and they had their big hit, and we as consumers see that, oh my gosh, that happened overnight. Well, no, it really didn't. They spent a lot of time preparing themselves and preparing for that opportunity and for that moment, and generating momentum slowly, step by step. It's like the old conversation of how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. And so I think that's something that I know I've struggled with, and I'm sure many other folks in our generation struggle with, is you see that person that's at the pinnacle of success, and we want to be there now. We don't want to wait. We're used to instant gratification, and it takes
With fear when it comes to pursuing their purpose, how do you say people can overcome these challenges?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, and it's kind of catchy, I guess, if you will, to say this, but fear and faith have the exact same definition. And it's the belief in something that hasn't happened yet is going to happen. You get to decide internally, is it going to be a positive or a negative? Faith is the positive outcome, fear is the negative outcome. So it's the belief in something that's going to happen that hasn't happened yet. Can either be from a place of fear or from a place of faith. And if you have faith in yourself and have that internal self-belief, that's the most important thing that you can have, is to spend some time investing in yourself, knowing yourself and who you are. And that's part of the challenge. Is a lot of folks are looking for their own identity and who am I and where are we in this world. And that's what a lot of my book is all about, is taking the time to slow down, to investigate that. And once you understand who you are and what you're doing, you can have that faith in yourself. It's kind of like the Flappy Man out in front of the car dealership. It's generated by this air that's blowing up through the middle of it, but as soon as that air stops, the Flappy Man falls over. And so much of our drive in this culture that leads to burnout is because we have to constantly be blowing that hot air up through the middle of the Flappy Man. But once we're able to tap into our inspiration and our faith, we don't have to generate that internally, because you're tapped into that external inspiration that keeps you driving and keeps you going and gives you that little extra edge to step out in faith and take a chance.
Well, your book has a lot of great advice that helps people find their path. Once people find their path, they may have a hard time integrating that within their social life, and they may be busy. How do you say people continue working for their purpose despite having other responsibilities?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's one of the things that's really interesting, is you have to sit down and evaluate where you're going. And I think, a lot of the folks here on the USM campus are at a prime time for this, as you're getting ready to launch out into careers out of this campus and into things. Is stop now and spend the time now to determine what your purpose is and where you're going and what inspires you to do that thing. What's the why behind what you're doing? And then it'll help you to set priorities. One of the sections of my book is all about that. How do we integrate this into our daily life? And it's called the Daily Dose. And what you do in that exercise is you have your list of to-dos and what's working towards my goal and my purpose and what's not working towards it, and help you to prioritize that, because so many things in life seem urgent, and a lot of times we spend time putting out fires that seem urgent, but it's really what's important that we should be going after. And so that decision point of deciding between urgency versus importance is really, really particular that you have to focus on.
Mm-hmm. What about maintaining your purpose after a long time? How do you think people can do that? Like, going back to what you said about having a certain job, doing that for a while, and then you think you're getting tired of it, how would you say people can make their purpose different and fall in love with it again?
Yeah, so I think your purpose can change over different stages of life, right? As I was a young man growing up, I had dreamed about being a jet pilot in the military. And then my father was diagnosed with kidney cancer, and he passed away when I was 19. And the hospice nurses that took care of him were like angels on earth, and that was an incredible experience. And it changed my calling and my direction in life to go into healthcare instead of into going and being a jet pilot. So I think we have to be flexible to our lives and to say, hey, you can't set so rigid of guidelines that if I don't achieve this one thing, I'm not successful. It's really about going for a path that's fulfilling to you, and that can vary and can be different in different stages of life. And in one stage of life, your cup may be full, but as you progress, maybe it's a new career, maybe it's a move to another state, maybe it's a family, those sorts of things, that cup changes sizes. And the goal then is to continue to fill your cup wherever it is or whatever shape it is. So you have to have some flexibility there and not lock into having this is the only way possible. But it's really important to have dreams and to have a direction. If you don't have that direction, it's like floating out in the ocean in a boat that doesn't have a rudder to steer it. Your dreams, your goals, the things that you write out there and setting a purpose are what put the rudder on the ship and enable you to steer it and go from one place to another. You may decide that you want to go to a particular port in a particular harbor at one point in time, and then you get there and decide you don't want to be there anymore. But if you don't have goals, dreams, and aspirations, you don't have the ability to steer your life in another direction.
Wow. Change is a really good thing, considering that it opens the door to a lot of other possibilities that you never would have thought you'd be interested in until you went for it.
Absolutely. And there's something in us that doesn't like change. But as we open our minds up to seeing what's out there, we can really see that there are a lot of possibilities, and you don't want to say that this is the only way possible, because then you could close the door on something better that could be in store for you.
That's right. How can people contact you and get help about finding their path?
So people can reach me at my website, henrybeeman.com, HenryBeemann.com, or you can find my book on Amazon.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Your advice and your book is going to help so many people find their path, considering it can be very hard finding your purpose in a life with so many different options. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's been an honor to be here.
Coming up, we've got a community calendar from Raven Payne and Suvi Lama.
As Creed Week ends, USM Student Government Association hosted a Creed Carnival Friday honoring our Creed. Creed Carnival Friday was on March the 1st from 11:30 to 1:30 p.m. But due to the weather, the location was changed from Sentinel Green to the game room on campus.
My name is Leah Johnson. I am a member of Judicial Board. So we're celebrating our Creed this week. So this is like our final celebration of Creed Week. And it's just kind of a way for us to get students together and talk about our shared values that we all agree to uphold.
Students can paint, play games in the game room, and get their faces drawn in a character picture. SGA has snacks to enjoy like popcorn and cotton candy.
We had a bunch of stuff this week, and then next week we have SGA exec elections. That's our next big thing.
So be on the lookout for that and more events from SGA on their Instagram at Southern Miss SGA.
Thank you for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Thanks to our audio engineer, Justin Ware, and our live stream producer, Cullen Rogers, for keeping this bird flying. Big shout out to our assistant producer, Annalie Johnson, and Sonia Woods, executive producer, Ohari Adair, program director, Shania Williams, and our general manager, Dr. Martin. That wraps up our show for Southern Miss Today. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, soar high to the sky and fly, eagle, fly. I'm your host, Kennedy Drake, signing off for now.
Sponsorship comes from